What's up, you nerds? Welcome back to Yellow Spandex.
I know that we had a lot of new people this week, thanks to Podbean. Just want to let you guys know we normally release on Wednesdays. So if you guys are like, when does this thing come out? Like, it comes out on Wednesday. Hopefully it comes out on Wednesday. 99% of the time, it comes out on Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah. This week, we talk about Dan Aykroyd in the new Ghostbusters 2020. We talked about Jurassic World and a bunch of other stuff. Make sure you stay tuned because we got more in store for you, all coming to you right now on Yellow Spandex.
You good? We started?
Yeah, I guess we started.
Oh, hey, everybody.
Hey.
It's funny. We were talking off. I was going to say camera. There's no camera today. Vince and I saw a lot of movies this week, but I don't think any of them were comic book related. But if you're happening to wonder about movies, Hustlers was really good.
It's weird because like this week, I was like, hey, Andrew, want to go see a movie? Well, what's playing? Nah, it doesn't look like anything.
Like, we saw Ready or Not. That was fine. Mm-hmm. Like Vince said, it was a movie. But you have to like really love slasher films. Mm-hmm. It was different. I'll give you that. Without any spoilers. Don't let anybody spoil it for you because it's really easy to spoil. But it's hilarious at the beginning and the end, and then the middle, everything in between is like a slasher film. Yeah. And the person that's not Margot Robbie like is awesome. It's kind of like a very violent Clue, you know?
Yeah.
Is that one with Chris Evans?
No, that's Knives Out, which also looks like a Clue.
That looks really good.
Movie. That looks like really fun.
Also, the remake of Clue is coming. No, just
yeah.
I was like, oh, wow, really?
And then we saw Good Boys, which really reminded me of like if you took Superbad but like clicked it down another generation down.
Yeah.
So I mean, you should know this from the trailers, but if you're uncomfortable seeing like really young kids like swear and all that stuff, don't see that movie. But it's really funny otherwise because me and Vince were talking on the way home. We're like that in like not good ways reminds us of our childhood.
Oh yeah.
You know, because like when we were all growing up, like the internet was starting, so we still had access to it. It was a lot harder to like get stuff, you know, but like
we used to play Spin the Bottle back in the day.
Yeah, but I mean like with the internet, like when the guys were like the boys like are going into like 6th grade and they're convinced they need to like learn how to kiss girls and they don't know how, so they look up porn on the internet and stuff, and like it's that easy now. Like for us, it was like we had to wait till the parents went to sleep, nobody's using the phone, all that stuff. But these guys are just like looking up stuff freely, and then they go on this big adventure. But it reminds me of like stuff that wasn't shown in movies before, and you're like, I mean, all of this is exaggerated, but the spirit of it was very true of like what you and your friends would probably like thought how cool you were, you know, stuff. It was pretty funny. It was written by Seth Rogen and his buddy Evan Goldstein. So
nice.
Like,
so it was kind of like Superbad.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, it was that. But Hustlers, man, had no idea how good that movie would be. Like it's based on like a true story of like a scam of these strippers in New York and stuff. I guess is still going on. There's two main characters, Constance Wu and Jennifer Lopez. Mm-hmm. The woman that Constance Wu is portraying, kind of like they have different names and they're like amalgamations of different people. Her real person, I guess, either had consulted for the movie or like had some involvement, and then the person that J-Lo's playing had nothing to do with the movie, is really angry and is trying to sue J-Lo now. But like this was very much a heist film in my eyes. Mm-hmm. And instead of just being like we're like Ocean's 11 but with all women, it was like a heist, but it was all like these strippers in New York. Really, I can't think of anything before where you, maybe Showgirls or something, where you'd seen like a heist from the point of view of like an exotic dancer.
Yeah.
And stuff. And it was like crazy because like J-Lo's the ringleader. There's all these like underlings. There's like the one person that someone vouches for, but they're not cool. Like, you know, like it was pretty cool. And then to find out that the actual scam happened in New York back in 2008 was like, yeah, it was cool. And the acting was great. Also, Jennifer Lopez is a effing vampire.
Yeah, she doesn't seem to age.
Looks exactly the same as she did when I was like coming of age.
I feel like Halle Berry has been like that for a long time too, to where she doesn't seem to get old that very quick.
I could see that. And then Constance Wu, I was like, I didn't even know she was going to be a stripper in this movie. I was like, how's that going to play off? Because in my head, she's the mom from Fresh Off the Boat.
Yeah.
She does it. I mean, she does. Not all the girls, you could tell who the A-list actors are because they don't take all their clothes off.
Yeah.
And stuff. And then the random naked girls are like the bit actors and stuff. But like, in my eyes, they tastefully like did the like they show you that they take their clothes off, but they like do these angles. They're like not too obvious, but like they get the story across without just being like porn.
Yeah,
like it was super cool, and it had some emotional elements in it. Like the whole thing's framed around Julia Stiles interviewing somebody and stuff. Like,
so Julia Stiles is in a movie?
Yeah, right.
I haven't seen her forever.
But she's pretty much the same person she's in every movie. You know how like in like the Bourne movies?
Yeah.
She's like the binding of the book. Mm-hmm. You know, like that's what she is in this one. She's asking questions of Constance Wu like in present day about the past, and it's framing the story.
Oh, that's funny.
So it's like She's Julia Stiles in this movie. Like, she might as well just kept that name and stuff. Lizzo's in the movie as Liz.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I'm pretty positive Cardi B's in this movie, right?
Yes, she is.
Isn't that like kind of a bad choice though for her? Because I think a few months ago, probably more than a few months ago, she was like, she'd said something on like her Twitter or whatever it was. She's like, "Yeah, I used to drug guys and steal their money." Like, so, wow, that's an awful thing to say you used to do.
In some ways, she was perfect for it because she actually like danced in those New York bars that they're talking about.
Oh, nice.
When those scams were happening.
So this could have been actually written about her.
She might have had something to do with it, but she said in like multiple interviews before and after the movie, like that she's not proud of her past. It's just the way it was, and she's not going to like lie about it. So props for that part. Like not doing it, but like, you know,
J-Lo can be She-Hulk.
There you go.
Especially because She-Hulk is Jennifer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Cardi's in it like very. I don't want to spoil it too much, but she's not one of the main characters. But she's funny and believable because I think she just like because they filmed it in the New York strip clubs. So I think that she was just like, I'm home, you know, like. But she was pretty funny. I guess she like consulted J-Lo because J-Lo also produced the movie.
Yeah,
She-Hulk.
Randomly with Will Ferrell and Adam McKay. It's not a comedy like that, but they I don't know funded it or something. But I guess she consulted J-Lo and like. Well, this is what was going on in your mind then, because they're all justifying like drugging and stealing money from these men because they're like evil Wall Street guys and stuff. Not that that makes that right, but that was just like their thing. So
not that it makes it right.
Part of it why I brought that up is A, this is a really good movie, but B, the reason we went to go see it is we saw a review that said like the chemistry between the girls is Avengers level, and I was like, that's saying a lot. Also, a really strange like comparison.
Yeah,
but pretty true. Like if you think of like kind of like a mafia Avengers. Only strippers.
Made of strippers.
Yeah.
It definitely had a mafia vibe.
But Vince makes a good point. Yeah, J-Lo, she's portrayed in this movie. You just paint her green, she'd be She-Hulk.
The way she looks, the definition of her body, everything. Oh my gosh.
I remember somebody
I was freaking
painted
out.
Beyonce as like She-Hulk in like one of those because they grabbed like one of those really like I think it was the Super Bowl or something she was in.
Yeah, when she made the ugly face.
Yeah, she made like a really angry face or something, and then they painted her green or something like.
Oh, I did see that.
I remember when that photo came out. It was something like why you don't ever ask your band photographer for all the photos. I just saw that Dan Aykroyd, I don't know if that's a transition or not, is going to be in the new Ghostbusters.
I'm so happy.
Well, he actually announced it was probably last year at some point in time on accident.
Oh, even though Dan Aykroyd spoiled the.
So he was on the Joe Rogan Experience, and every once in a while, when I see like a really good like person on the Joe Rogan, like I'm like because I listen to podcasts all the time, so like I like the guy. A lot of his stuff is like MMA fighters or comedians or something, and I'm like, I don't know. So like
it's because it's both what he does.
Exactly is what he does. But anyway, he did this one with Dan Aykroyd, and so I was working the other day, and I was like, I want to put this on. I'm so interested to hear what Dan Aykroyd has to say. Oh my gosh, it was such a bore fest.
Really?
For the first half, did you listen to it?
No.
Okay, the first half of it, he just talked about his vodka.
Oh, Crystal Skull.
Yeah. And then they got into the reason that it was Crystal Skull is because he believes in aliens and this Crystal Skull thing. And it just got weird. And not only like
Joe loves that.
He does.
Joe loves the aliens stuff.
So you know what's really funny about that? There's a YouTuber I just got into named Eddie Burback.
Yeah.
Highly recommend him if you like commentary. Like he's only like 22 or 23 or something like that. Really smart kid though. And he did a whole video about Dan Aykroyd's vodka.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious because it shows every time he's on an interview. And as soon as he's like, you know what? It's because it doesn't have any preservatives, blah, blah, blah. And then like the host, you just see the, oh, fuck, like look in their eyes. Like, and every interview he does the same spiel. Like he's the crazy grandpa talking about like
preservatives,
like the mind controlled juices in your water and stuff.
Yes.
And then it's a one piece of a crystal skull. That he looks like a crazy person.
I got that vibe. Like that he was just like, and he'd even said like, well, I don't really do the pictures anymore, but I'm going to be in this Ghostbusters movie. And it's just weird. It was odd because, you know, you get people that get so big and then they're just beyond other people, so they just do whatever they want, and it just gets weird.
That's my goal. I want to be I want to be well off enough. I don't necessarily need to be like super rich. I just want to be well off enough that I could just be like as dumb as I need to be and still be okay.
Yeah, I think even Joe Rogan used to call FU money or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like I have no like I don't care. I can do whatever I want, which is kind of cool if you're the person.
I have this thing where like in my head I have like a mental list. I call it my millionaire list. If I ever become like super rich, like I just want to like throw money at not necessarily certain people, but certain projects or people. Where it's like, you get $1 million. See what you do with that. I'm just curious
Yeah.
because like off camera we were talking about They Might Be Giants, one of my favorite bands ever, and Flood is such a like timeless album, but no one would fund that nowadays.
Yeah. But no one funds music nowadays.
Yeah, but I mean, especially like that though. Like you look at the songs, like like one of the more popular songs in there is about Istanbul, and the other one's about like a nightlight falling in love with like his owner. Like,
yeah.
no one would like throw $1 million behind that now.
Yeah.
But I want to be that guy if I ever become rich.
I love how like they put all those to like Looney Tunes or Tiny Tunes.
Yeah,
You remember that?
I remember that.
I just remember watching
whole
it. And,
episode.
like, they basically do like music videos to
Yeah.
They Might Be Giants, and it's just odd.
And the songs are weird in their natural form, so you don't think that they're
Yeah.
real. You're like, oh, okay, well, Istanbul is obviously another song that just made it. No, that's the song. Like,
You know what's funny is you guys ever seen the regular show? It was on like Cartoon Network. It was like
think
a
so.
big woodpecker and like a raccoon. Basically, there you go.
I haven't ever watched it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but like I love that show. Like I kind of bother my kids with it sometimes. I don't know why they hate it, and my wife really hates it. But it's a really funny show to me because it's just so random. And I was listening to Cake the other day, and
another good band.
my daughter turns to me. She's like, "Dad, this band sounds like it made music on regular show." And I was like, "It's true. It makes a lot of sense." I don't know if you ever watched that show, but it was like, yeah, they make music on the show every once in a while. So it was kind of like, oh, yep, it's kind of corny, kind of weird, kind of has a cool groove to it. Yep, that makes sense.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know that was on until it turned off.
Yeah, it does that every once in a while. I keep forgetting to turn off the air conditioner. We're outside.
But
Sorry
anyway.
about we're a little bit off the Ghostbusters stuff. Like Dan did that Ghostbusters
game?
video game, and that had a lot of people in it that were from the original. Was Ramis in it? I think Harold Ramis was in it.
Wait,
How long ago was that game?
He died.
So
I
this
know.
whole thing is he spoiled that he'll be in.
that they're doing it and he'll be in it.
Yeah, he mentioned it on Joe Rogan.
And he had said he doesn't know if Bill Murray has even confirmed a cameo yet in it. But he's hoping that he will appear in it. But was it Ernie Hudson is probably a safe bet that he'll be in that.
So the studio freaked out or something, or
I don't know. They probably like that it's
Yeah.
It's going to apparently have Carrie Coon and Paul Rudd in it.
Very
God.
cool. I'm down
And
for
Finn
anything Paul Rudd.
Wolfhard.
Oh, that makes sense. Those kids, the Stranger Things kids, are just going to be killing like horror movie stuff.
Yeah.
Like we talked about last week, we saw It too. Like Finn Wolfhard, like he's just perfect. Like because even luckily he's a good actor, but
Yeah.
like your head is like tied to the emotions you had when you saw him running from like the Demogorgon. So when you see him like in It, you're like, I'm still rooting for you, kid. You know?
Dang, too many things trying to kill that kid.
And then when
Save him.
we saw Godzilla King of the Monsters, and it's I can't remember her
There's
name.
the girl in it.
Jackie Bobby.
No,
Millie Bobby?
Millie Bobby Brown.
There you go.
I was like, it's like run,
Ricky
set
Bobby.
11, run.
You can't run.
Reminds me of Ricky Bobby.
I want to go fast.
But Ghostbusters 2020 in summer.
What were the,
that'll be a
what
good
were the
summer
kids'
movie.
names in Talladega Nights? Texas and
Texas
Ranger.
Walker and Texas
Walker
Ranger.
and Texas Ranger.
It's a Sony movie. Now I don't know how I feel about it.
You're just mad about it.
Well, I wonder, like, they're just gonna like throw Spider-Man in it to spite everybody.
Make him
I don't know.
a goose. A ghost.
It's just it sucks to me that this movie's being made now. Because, like I said, Harold Ramis, who was the director of the first two movies and starred in it, he was Egon.
Yeah.
They could have made this movie, and I think he was even champion it, like 10 years ago?
Oh yeah.
And they were like, everybody else is like, nah.
So you know what's interesting? if there's a video essayist I watched named Patrick Willem, who technically, thanks to NerdSync, have collaborated with briefly. He didn't know it, but like we were both voice actors on like one of NerdSync's videos. But Patrick is like brilliant in his video essays, and he did a video about Ghostbusters and how it's about nothing. And that was the trick. Is like it somehow didn't have a story. It was just really great.
Yeah.
Like there was that whole thing about Zool and everything, but it was like only like halfway through into the end.
Until
and
you
stuff.
actually knew it, yeah.
And even that was not really a plot. Like it was kind of like
it wasn't
a
well
goal.
defined.
Yeah. It was like a goal more than a plot. But somehow everything in the world and the actors and the characters and stuff like worked really well. It's the opposite of what I usually say. I'm like, oh, good writers make good stories. Like in this case, good writers made like an anti-story, and it was great.
Well, Aykroyd wrote it.
Oh, really?
He wrote Ghostbusters.
Oh, so maybe we need to get Crystal Vodka Man back on the screenwriting.
Well, it's just funny about like when I was listening to him, he was talking about writing it. He was talking about all these crazy things. Like his family had a medium that would come every year and like talk to his dead family for it. And then on top of it, he's going off on like all these crazy tangents about like, did you know for a fact that like the soul weighs 21 grams? And you're like, what? you could just hear Joe Rogan be like,
Wow.
really?
So he's like Tommy Wiseau. Like maybe he was serious with Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
And we all thought it was a comedy.
Exactly.
That's really eye-opening. He was like, no, there's a Slimer here right now.
Just go with it. It's there.
Right? Yeah.
I do remember the Ghostbusters movie, but I didn't actually see that until like I was a little bit older, like before college. But as a kid, like the thing that cemented in my head was the real Ghostbusters cartoon.
Oh, yeah.
Which is confusing because when you go back to look at it, you realize there was like competing Ghostbusters franchises and stuff because there was another.
Yeah, the weird Ghostbusters. It was like Scooby-Doo.
For some reason,
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
remember it being on television all the time around like October or something.
I loved that show, but it got scary.
The
kids stuff. Like I remember being legit freaked out a couple
Sandman
times.
episode.
Well, I definitely watched the cartoon, but the movie is what I was saying. Was on
it'd be
TV all
like
the
on
time.
TBS.
Yeah, it was
TBS
just
was
on,
always like
all the time.
Is where I saw Red Sonja and stuff. And it's like, do I have feelings for Brigitte Nielsen?
Probably.
That was a fun one.
I don't know, man. It could be good.
So this
You
is
never know.
it's going to be a live action.
Yeah, it's gonna be live action. I imagine it's gonna be hard to get Rick Moranis back too.
It's weird that
probably
they
won't.
just keep putting out
He's been
Ghostbuster
saying-
movies
Really?
too, though.
Recently, he's been saying that he's more willing. He's looking for a part.
Oh, okay.
Like
Because
how
I mean,
long
these kids
ago
are
was
probably
the
grown up
female
now.
one?
What the female one was 2 years ago
2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Vince and I were actually at the first non-embargo screening of that. They actually did it at YouTube for a bunch of YouTubers, and there's a whole fiasco we could save another podcast for. That like we had none of us knew like that room. There's probably maybe 100, 150 of us had no idea how like half of us were in like this huge controversy like about like it being like a setup thing and stuff, and like it wasn't by the way.
I didn't know. Like,
So we didn't know this, but I'm going to do the TLDR.
Okay.
I guess on some other podcast we can do like the long version.
version.
But the short version is none of us really knew. Maybe some people did, but especially the non-movie YouTubers didn't know that there was an embargo about this movie. And we were kind of new to LA at the time. So we learned if there's an embargo all the way up to the release date of a movie, it's not a good movie because studio knows that. They don't want people talking about it.
Yeah.
So there's an embargo about it. Some way, either it was on purpose because it was at YouTube or someone accidentally made it, forgot to like sign the NDAs or whatever.
Yeah.
This one screening was the only screening before the movie came out that was non-embargoed.
Oh.
So as soon as the screening was over, people went to their cars and started reviewing it and posting to YouTube,
oh wow.
including us.
Did you get a
people-
lot of views on that one?
we did more than we normally did at the time.
I remember Matt Bell though. His went viral.
So that's the thing is like, so Island Arcade, our now friend Tyler, we didn't know him at the time, and his buddy Andy,
Chocolate Ghost House.
Andy specifically was like, I'm going to hate this movie. But as soon as he saw it, he actually loved it. Like he jumped on a chair and he's like, oh my God. He was telling the director because he was there doing Q&A. He was like, I was going to like tell you how much I
crow.
hate it, but now I'm eating crow. Like it was a great movie. Granted, like 90 of the 100 people were like, it was fine.
Yeah, it was okay for a movie.
But
it was
then
so silly.
Matt from
Reckless
Reckless
Eating.
Eating went on in his car and he was like, this was the worst thing, blah, blah. He's like, Chris Hemsworth is like a walking sight gag, blah, blah. He had a lot of good points, but like it was the two opposite things happened. And then ours and Professor Puppets got like hate. So like people were in our video like, you're like, how would you support this movie, blah, blah. Professor Puppet had his 16-year-old daughter with him and people in the comments was telling her to drink bleach and stuff. And it was like, so the 16-year-old girl was like pretty much the demographic this movie is made for. When she said she liked it, like that
That's a good
sounds
sign.
right, you know, like. But with Matt and with Reckless Eating and Island Arcade had the biggest controversy because people were like, you can't like this movie because he loved. He did a whole positive review on it. They were like, he's clearly a Sony shill.
I love
like
that
Sony
crap.
paid him.
They
Look at-
paid him to do it.
and so the quote unquote evidence that everybody posted was like, this is the son of the director, Paul Feig or whatever. He's like, because look, there's a picture of them together, and they look alike. They don't look alike. They're both white. That's the only thing. But also the reason there's a picture of them together is because the director was there.
Yeah.
All of us got pictures with Paul. Every single person in that thing, because he was there the whole time. His whole job was to like make all these YouTubers like his movie. So he took pictures with us, all of us.
Oh, okay.
But people only cherry picked Tyler's photo.
Yeah.
And they put it on the internet. And then they're like, look, he's a marketing major, which was true.
Tay
But-
Zonde was there with him as well.
But it was all, they were picking all these. Yeah.
Chills.
They were picking all this like quote unquote evidence. Some of the things were facts, but they were like putting them in a context that was convenient to like their story and stuff. Tyler genuinely liked the movie, and so did Andy. And it was like I didn't love the movie. I thought it was fine. It was okay. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. But he's allowed to like it.
Yeah.
Like I can see how he liked it. I got some laughs out of it and stuff. And there's a person that isn't me that really loves this, and then there's Matt who hates it. And so the internet just blew up. His channel went viral. He had like not even 1,000 subs at the time. He just blew up. Like he had to like private the video because he was getting like death threats and doxing and stuff. Because people were just like hating. They were like, "How could Sony do this?" Blah blah. And it's like, okay, like
Wow.
Chill out, yo.
but the thing that didn't help him was that since there was an embargo, the fact that there was only like 4 or 5 reviews
That
on the
is
internet,
only it. Yeah.
like it was highly suspicious. And the majority of the internet probably only saw Reckless Eating and Island Arcade.
Yeah.
Like some people saw ours and Professor Puppets, but not nearly the thousands of millions or whatever like that saw those two. And it even got so bad that Reckless Eating commented on Tyler's video. It's like
He was in the same screening.
he was like, "Listen, I was at the same screening. I hated it, but he was there and he loved it. He's not a shill." People were still like, "Well, somebody paid him off too." It's like,
Yeah.
that guy
Exactly.
that hated the movie, like,
Where's my money, Sony?
They paid him to say that.
so I don't know. I don't know if that was a fun story for everybody, but that's how LA is, I
No,
guess.
that's the type of stories that we want to hear.
Some
Sheesh.
people who go on our Instagram, you could see us, me and Vince. We took a picture in front of the Ecto One and
Yeah, that
stuff.
was
So that
cool.
was cool. I mean, I still think the all female Ghostbusters was fine.
Dude, that scene with Kate where she like slides on 2 knees with 2 like ecto blasters, it's just epic.
And actually, in that movie, the one thing I did love from beginning to end, anything with Kate McKinnon,
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
That
She's
sounds
hilarious
great.
normally.
because she committed to the role.
Holy crap.
I didn't watch it. I didn't give it. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that I don't watch. If I'm not totally into something, I'm probably not going to watch it anyway. But
And even though, Thor looked retarded in this movie, he still delivered some of the funniest shit I've ever seen.
He was mildly controversial in that like they swung the pendulum like really far the other way. So instead of having a female secretary that's kind of a bonehead,
yeah,
they had a male secretary that was like a 3 times bonehead.
was
like,
it supposed to be like the lady secretary is supposed to be something good to look at or something?
Exactly.
He was supposed to be something good to
just
look
hired
at.
because he looked good.
It was
he literally
totally
didn't
gender
he
swapped.
literally didn't know how to pick up a phone.
Yeah.
Like it was one of the gags.
And then he's like, I can't hear this. Let me put my glasses on. That's what it was.
But then like they were like, well, what they said something to him and he was like frustrated.
Yeah.
So he put his fingers through the
glasses.
frames because there wasn't any glass in the frames.
There was no
and he was like
lenses.
and he's like and to like pinch his nose like, oh god,
Like some of the funniest scenes I've ever seen with him.
but everything was like a crotch gag, like so
It was like, ball jokes, toilet jokes.
I mean, it does get kind of dark. There's like suicide in it and stuff. It's weird, but like
Overall, it was a
The second
good time.
Ghostbusters is kind of dark. I mean, like I got scared. Not only was I scared of it as a kid,
It was pretty scary, man.
like growing up, now I now realize that the baby in the second movie was the baby that she was forced to have sex with Rick Moranis. In the first
I
movie?
didn't pick that up.
In the first movie,
wow.
To have the
they both get like possessed by
Yeah.
like those demon dogs
Yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever.
the key
And
master,
I'm the key, I'm the gate, whatever, and they have sex.
keeper,
Oh, wow.
And that child is the child from him and Rick Moranis.
Zod or whatever. Not Zod. That's Superman.
Of her and Sigourney Weaver and Rick Moranis. And I was like, I think I was in the shower one day and I was like, Ghostbusters. What the heck?
I just remember that
Just
song,
being
man.
like, that is wow. I remember thinking about it, like, why'd she have a kid? Wasn't she with Bill Murray or whatever in the movie? Like, oh wait,
How she got pregnant.
that's
by
how
Rick
she
Moranis.
got.
That is kind of dark. The toys
Yeah.
were my favorite thing. And there was endless toys because it was just like it was based off the cartoon show, but it was like all the ghosts they encountered, like the toilet monster thing and like all the stuff. It all came with slime that like my parents immediately threw away.
Like they're re-releasing a lot of these toys. Like in this article, they talk about like they're re-releasing the Marshmallow Man, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man toy. And then I have another thing I wanted to talk about just briefly was this is from the real Ghostbusters too.
Yeah, that's the show.
Yeah.
It had Garfield as one of the Ghostbusters.
Yep. Only for like the first season though.
Yeah, was that only one season?
Yeah, only one season.
It
Then
feels
somebody
like it
else
was
took
5
over.
years.
Somebody
Yeah.
else took over like after that.
Oh, that sounded like him.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
In fact, I think didn't they talk about they talked about it in it's Rick and Morty
Oh, probably
for like a split second. He was in Ghostbusters the first year. Like, shut up, Morty. But remember the Ninja Turtles? They're re-releasing those figures too. Like,
Nice.
and these are the ones like me as a kid was like, I want these, and then they just kept making them forever.
So, back in Delaware, there's a store called Second and Charles that sells a bunch of like secondhand stuff. And these Ninja Turtle toys from the 80s, they had a complete set of the 4 of them, this classic one.
Yeah.
And I think it was like $400-$500 or something like that. And I'm like, that makes sense because they were all like in mint, in package condition stuff and in a complete set together. But yeah, I remember as a kid, like the classic
still have
ones.
mine, I think.
Or remember the ones where the shells opened up and had all the gear inside? My favorite ones. I love things with like little storage nooks, so I could carry the action figure with all the accessories.
Yeah.
I remember there was this kid in school that used to tell me that his parents like would buy me the blimp if I asked him to.
What?
And I was like, you're
the
saying
Foot Clan blimp.
if I
they had a turtle blimp.
you to
Oh, is it
it
a
is
turtle
a turtle blimp. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
If I asked you to buy me the blimp, you said you're gonna get me the blimp. And he was like, "Yeah, I swear I'll do it." And I guess he just wanted to be my friend. I don't know what happened because when he went to give it to me, he gave me a box, and I was like, "This is not the box that it comes in." And I opened it up, and he had drawn a blimp and then colored it in, and then cut it out, and then put it in a box and gave it to me.
That's kind of sweet.
Yeah,
And he was like, "I couldn't afford to get you the blimp, so
it's a sad story,
drew
Vince.
this."
Yeah. Were you a dick to him?
Yeah,
Oh.
for sure.
You're like, what the hell is this?
I was like, dude, what the hell is this?
Did you call him up like Billy Madison style? Like, hey, remember that time you did that really nice thing for me when we were little? I'm sorry. And
That's so sweet, though.
crosses your name off the to kill list.
It's like,
Yeah.
why? I think I got mad at him. I was like, why'd you lie to me?
Well, he didn't lie. He tried.
I'm sorry, I couldn't afford it, Vince. Dang you.
Yeah,
I wanted
he
a
didn't have
real
to lie.
turtle blimp.
Instead, he could have just been like, yo, you want to hang out? Because that's literally all he wanted.
That's true.
So instead, he made this like elaborate story of his
I'll
parents
buy
are
you
going
something
to
if you're
buy me
friends
the
with me.
blimp. Yeah, and he got me all excited about it.
I loved all those like recess schoolyard deals. 'Cause I remember when I was, I can't remember what grade, pretty young. Whenever Mortal Kombat like 2 came out, a friend of mine, I think his dad or something, either owned a bookstore or worked at a bookstore or whatever. And I learned then at that age that like when they do magazine returns, they just have to rip the covers off and send them back to the publisher for credit.
Yeah.
And so he had all these like was it Game Pro? Game Pro and like Electronic Gaming Monthly, whatever.
Yeah.
Like that without the covers that he would just sell for me like for $1 and stuff. And like I remember like every recess there would be like 1 or 2 lunches that week that I just wouldn't get lunch.
Yep.
And then I would like slip that to my friend to get these magazines without the covers so I could like see like Mortal Kombat moves or like what might be coming in Mortal Kombat 3 and stuff. Like
I'm pretty sure I still have all my turtles. And they weren't mine. They were my brother's first, and then he gave them to me. But they're I have soft head ones too.
Yeah. I used to have the big ones, a couple of those, but my parents, my parents actually had quite a bit of money, but people spend things on different things. They bought like big houses or big, and they bought like a pool and like a big car. And then like we wouldn't have
Small things.
deodorant.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Just silly things like that.
That's-
so
it's funny, Josh, what you're saying about like your parents spending money on different things. Like it reminds me of a meme I just saw where like it was like parent, it's like to kid, like why do you? I can't believe you spend all day like watching other people play video games on YouTube. It's like parent sits down, watches other people fix houses on HGTV.
it's true though.
It's like
What's funny, so these action figures, when I was a kid, I don't even remember what ages they were, but like I was, but like my brother and I weren't allowed to have Ninja Turtles toys
weird.
for the longest time because ninja implies Japanese, and I won't get into the history of it. You can look it up, but my parents are Korean, so Korean and Japanese have a very like sordid history, and so they're like, you're not going to have anything Japanese. They're also very old school. That's an extremely racist thing to say now between Korean and Japanese, but like at that time they're like, no Japanese stuff. And I was like, oh, but Dad, like it's cool.
Turtles. They're
And
not Japanese.
It was like ninja, so it was like Japanese and slime. So it was like a double no.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And then they found out that Ninja Turtles was animated in Seoul, Korea. They're like, oh, now we're supporting the Korean government. Like, and so like then it was fine. I just didn't get the slime.
The slime that came in later, and it's just nasty. Like,
I had the turtle van
Me too.
I
with
wish I had
shot the
turtle van.
pizzas,
Yeah, and then it had the side, the suicide door thing.
Yeah.
and then there's
Which
like
is kind of like what they did in the new movie. They had the whatever.
oh yeah,
the
I
pizza
forgot
thing.
that they
Is
did
it the
that.
second new movie?
Did they do that?
was
Oh,
the
I thought maybe it was just a
first one,
commercial I
wasn't it?
saw where they were shooting pizzas
Okay.
out.
I
Maybe it
only
was just
saw
a commercial for Pizza Hut.
I only saw the first
could
Michael
be.
Bay Ninja Turtle. I didn't see the
The second one?
one.
Okay.
saw
Tell
it.
us, guys. I don't know. I didn't see the
I
second
think
one.
I saw it on an airplane.
I didn't see the first one either, to be honest. I kind of boycotted those movies because they.
I wanted to see the
Looked
first.
awful.
I saw the first one because I was like, I want this to be okay.
Yeah.
and then it wasn't. But the highlight of that movie is when the credits rolled, we were like, "That's the voice sounds like our friend Moxie," and then the credits rolled like, "That is Moxie." So I text her like, "Hey, good job." She's like, "Thanks."
Well, at least something good came out of that.
She got the end credits song.
Exactly.
I wonder how much like the if you have all the weapons and everything. I'm actually
OG, like original ones.
Yeah, like how much they
Yeah, I
were.
don't know.
There was like a second in Charles.
Yeah, that's the story I was just telling.
Oh yeah, it was like $300.
It was $400 or $500 there.
I'll take a look on right now.
And then what was the? There was a. I had the the Michelangelo that shot basketballs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had the sports ones for all of them, and they had the horror monsters,
Yeah.
Universal monsters. I think for all of them.
I don't remember.
Like I remember like a Frankenstein. I don't remember which turtle was which, but there was like Frankenstein and Dracula.
Oh, that's right. I think I do remember that now. They had so many different ones when they came out. It's ridiculous how many variations of turtles you could get. It's almost like how creative they got with the Power Rangers and all those action figures and toys and whatnot. But the Ninja Turtles, they just had like a certain like thing about them. Like they didn't look like any of the other action figures that were out at the time.
$465.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
I'm also looking for Yojimbo.
Oh, Usagi Yojimbo?
Yep.
Which I am loving the comics right now.
I know. I need to watch.
It's so wild. They're still going.
There's actually a newer action figure that I like more than. Actually, that's the one.
It's only $10,000.
The one that's
Wow.
$10,000. Yeah. There's some that are
Holy
way
crap.
cheaper than that,
Yeah.
but that's the look of it. The
Yeah,
blue
right.
light blue shirt. But that's the old school one below it. Yeah.
The one Turtles toy that I wanted the most, and I don't think I ever ended up getting, was remember the Foot Clan had those things that were like sideways razors. Like it was like a circle vehicle
It's
with
a
like the
I
with,
do
the
remember
blades
that.
hanging out.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to
For
describe.
some reason, I thought that
Like-
was G.I. Joe for a little second.
It might have recycled it from there, but I remember it was in the cartoon and they had the thing. I
It
don't.
was like a one-wheel motorcycle.
Kinda, but it was the
Was it a
vehicle for the Foot
motorcycle?
Clan. It wasn't a motorcycle. It was like a circle that was like upright with like blades on the side or something. And that's how I remember it. At least it probably looks different.
Oh, look, there's the
but it only-
Texadrome.
yeah.
Yeah, but it only held like one action figure.
yeah.
And I remember I
See if
saw
we
that
can-
package. I was like, that's so cool. And my parents were like, too
Yeah.
violent. I'm like,
Yeah, I'm not finding it.
you know,
but-
2
2 years later, I'm playing Mortal Kombat.
Did you put in Foot Clan?
Yeah, I did.
But it's like Foot Clan vehicle or something.
maybe. Okay, 1 second. Foot Clan.
We're totally on eBay looking at this right now.
I got it recorded. Maybe I'll pop it in.
Oh, cool.
Like-
The,
Oh my God, the car, dude!
Yes,
I had
love
that too.
the,
I think
what was the name of the new Trinos vehicle? Isn't that
that's
what it was?
what it was.
Oh, I love that show so much.
It was so good. It makes me want to watch it again.
And it's crazy because like the first season compared to the rest of them were like it's like serious, and then the rest of the seasons were like start getting sillier and sillier every year
And now it's just
because the parents
super silly.
Well, the parents were like at the time there was like this this mom's things were like everything's too violent. Like nowadays things are the exact opposite. Like here's your Mortal Kombat kid. Like
Teenage
actually,
Mutant Ninja Turtles never had
2019
blood.
is different.
exactly.
No, they never use their weapons to fight.
Yeah, you would always see
In the
them.
original, they did because I remember they started hacking it and they're like, "Hey,
Yeah.
these guys are robots," and just start like slicing them up. And they're like,
Oh yeah, the Foot Clan. They made them all robots.
By the last season or the second to last season, they started like they ended up throwing pizzas at like these like super comic-y looking mafia guys. Like, yo, get them, pizza time! Like, you're not even pulling out. Why do you even have those like
That's so
nunchucks
funny.
and stuff? It's just ridiculous.
I'm looking at my phone. I can't find them either. That
I wanna
might be
see if it's
Mandela
a-
affecting. It's in the same universe where Steven Seagal was the Highlander.
I want to see. Yeah, I want to see if it's actually a GI Joe thing.
We should get on to some more stuff.
Yeah. What's next?
There's a ton of crap that came out this week, so I don't know if we can get through it all. Maybe we can cut it into 2 podcasts. I don't know. Did you guys know that they're doing a small Jurassic Park movie?
I saw
Wow.
our friend Gary from Sneaky Zebra had posted it's like a digital movie or something like that.
Well, they're just going to be on FX, and it's
Yeah.
going to be shown after like Jurassic World being on FX.
So I didn't read any more about it. Is there a purpose for it? Is it just supposed to fill in the blanks?
I don't
or
know. It's supposed to be after Jurassic World 2. There's a Fallen Kingdom on Jurassic World 2. It's called Battle at Big Rock. And it's just weird. It's supposed to be it's just really short. I think it's like 30 minutes or something, and it's weird. I don't
That's
know.
cool. I mean,
why.
Battle at Big Rock.
I hope it's good because I love anything Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
I just love dinosaurs. Even like the bad Jurassic Park movies, I love.
It's only 8 minutes. Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's like a super. I think they said it was going to be a digital short, so they're probably putting it on
Okay.
FX and then throwing it online or something.
It shows a family venturing into California's Big Rock National Park for a camping trip. Unfortunately, the family, their camp is only a few miles from where the dinosaurs escaped. Oh wow.
Holy moly!
The encounter with prehistoric beasts will mark the first major confrontation between dinosaurs and humans. What?
I do because at the end of that Jurassic Park movie,
Yeah.
they escape into the world, and you don't see what happens. That's going to be the next movie, or this short, I guess. Because I remember we saw it with Boss Level 8, and I forget. Did you see the movie?
No, that's the second one. Saw the first one.
Yeah, so the second one, minor spoiler, it ends with them all escaping and then into the world, and they're flying. They're doing all the things that in the original trilogy, you're like, why didn't they address this? Because there's flying dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, I think in the books, I remember them escaping.
Yeah. And they did escape in the original trilogy, but like, you don't know how they contained them after that because like there's a pterodactyl flying, like it's not going to be in a cage. You know? So at the end of Jurassic World 2, we were with Boss Level 8, and like as the credits were rolling, we knew there was going to be post credits. And I remember like Jeff from Boss Level 8 being like, he was just fucking around, so like he wasn't being serious. He was like, oh, if there isn't a pterodactyl on top of the Eiffel Tower, I'm going to be pissed. And then it happened. I think it was the Eiffel Tower. Somebody correct me. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but like it was something ridiculous like that. And then it was just like pterodactyl on top of like the Eiffel Tower. Was like, like for some reason it sounded like a hawk, you know, like
people.
And but it kind of showed that the dinosaurs had scattered very quickly all over the world because they're dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So like, and then it just ends, and they're like Jurassic World 3. You know, find out what happens.
Dinosaurs will be seen in the next movie.
Yeah, but it is wild though because this short and the Jurassic World movie is going to have to be so huge.
Yeah,
because before when you were in the parks, you're like, okay, well you know your setting now. There's going to be a bunch of forests and then like one of these like Disneyland Epcot Center type things.
Yeah.
But now it's like literally anywhere in the world. You're just going to throw dinosaurs and...
Well, it's kind of like the end of the second movie. I think they had them in, was it downtown or something?
Was that New York or something?
I don't
like
know.
That?
Huh.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I just remember Vince Vaughn was in it. It was kind of funny.
Yeah.
I love that TV shows and Netflix and all this stuff are doing different things. And they're pouring money into different things. It's not just the same stuff over and over again.
You know what kind of reminds me of is when the second and third Matrix movies were coming out, they had a lot of supplemental stuff going out everywhere. Like there was the games, there was like a couple shorts, I think.
There's even the full-length movie, wasn't there? Like animated full-length
Oh, so
anime?
that was a series of films.
Yeah.
The Animatrix.
Yeah, that was so dope.
Was it 5 or 6 like little anime films?
Little shorts.
But there was other things though that I think are just going to be lost to history.
Yeah.
Like the video game, like no one's ever going to remember after a while and stuff. But it was all canon. There's cutscenes in the video game that filled in the blanks between the second and third movie, or maybe the first and second movie or something. And I'm like, man, it's cool because at the time you got this immersive experience, but now we only have the movies and then like the Animatrix.
Yeah, which sucks kind of about video games nowadays too, because I mean it's
download 'em.
more and more being downloaded only, and there's no way to kind of preserve them. Like we've got pretty much up until maybe PlayStation 2, we got them kind of have them ripped. Like, hey, we can play these.
There's ways.
There's ways to rip them at then, but now they're becoming download only. They're just going to disappear into the ether, and you're going to be like, hey, you remember that game? I don't remember that game.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Mandela effect. Like,
Speaking of Mandela effect, I've been looking for this toy, and I think I was actually Mandela.
you're in the same universe.
Yeah.
I recently, because Vince and I recently got back into gaming a little bit. Me mainly because of Mortal Kombat, and Vince because of Breath of the Wild. But like the last couple of weeks, Nintendo cracked down on this big ROM site.
Yeah.
Which totally within their rights.
Yeah.
Well, the reason they're getting after them is because this ROM site was charging $30 a month.
Oh, okay.
But it is within their rights because it's their IP. Even if they weren't charging, it is within their rights. But their argument was like, what happens to like preservation? Because specifically with N64 games, because N64 games haven't been re-released yet.
Yeah.
Like, so right now on the Switch, you can get Nintendo and Super Nintendo games are just in a library for you to play if you have a membership, and it's beautiful. Both Vince and I have it on our Switch. It's like I've been like killing some Super Mario World before I go to bed every night and stuff. And it's one of those games where you can play like in a 5 minute.
But I'm
spurt.
sure it's also limited to the amount of games that they have because of licensing of like companies that don't exist anymore, or companies that don't want you. They're like, hey, we're just going to hold on to this IP because we can.
Yeah. But then there's there are the ROMs and stuff, but like the N64 stuff, I guess there's something specific with N64 that like it's hard to emulate.
Yeah.
Or something. And then we're hitting a time in history now where cartridges are starting to fail because of electronics.
Yeah.
And so we were like, are we just going to forget about N64 eventually? Like,
No.
because
Sorry, that was loud.
it's going to start now, and then like 10 years from now, is Nintendo going to release this? Because they're taking them off the ROMs, like,
Yeah.
and stuff. So.
I was actually looking the other day at Super Nintendo stuff generally drops into my like YouTube or whatever, and they showed about how all the copyright protection they had against that. And I didn't even know that. I didn't know that they had copyright protection because
like the chip.
Yeah, because even in the 90s, I'm sure I got most of my Super Nintendo stuff on my computer back in the day. Because, when probably late 90s, I'm thinking, when PlayStation was already out and they'd moved probably the GameCube by then, they, you could get Super Nintendo games like with the NES games, and I had them all like on my computer.
Oh, like ROMs?
No way.
Yeah, ROMs. Yeah, just playing them.
I didn't even know about ROMs until like I was
Same.
10 years out of college.
Yeah.
So I won't say I hacked it, but like I liberated my PSP that I got myself for last Christmas to like do retro games. To get that whole thing working, you ask Vince, it looked like I was building like an illegal device. And I guess technically
Oh,
it
you
was,
were,
but like,
technically, yeah.
But like, well, it was backup.
Exactly.
That's what's under the guy. Because it was all stuff I own.
Can you have
I own
ROMs if they're backup, considered backup? Because I know
That's
you
what-
can with CDs.
That's what all the gaming channels say. They're like, obviously your wink, wink, your ROMs are backups, the cartridges you own, and stuff. Which sounds fair. I'm such an old school gamer. These games, like, I don't even know if like the source code exists anymore for them and stuff. But
let me know, like, guys, if that's true or not. Because to be honest, like, if you lost a game, you're like, oh, this is my backup. Like, oh, is it? Like, yeah, these are all my backups. I lost all these games in some random boating accident.
Boating.
It's probably easy for like you could probably just do it like an afternoon, but like it took me like a week. Like figure, I'm like, how do I do this? Like
On your PSP, it might be harder, but remember on my PC back in like 1998, all you had to do was download. I remember there was a program called Nesticle, and it actually looked like a ball sack. It's supposed to be like testicle, and you
dumb
could
and funny.
You just basically like, here's your ROMs, and you'd open ROM, and it'd be exactly the same way that you'd play a game.
the reason I did the PSP was because on the PC and the Mac, I couldn't figure out how to get it to work. It's been so long since I've like put new ROMs on that. If I try to do it now, I would have to spend another week relearning it. Like
Yeah.
right now, the machine just works as is with whatever's on it. It's just so out of my wheelhouse.
Yeah, it's beyond me.
But anyway, Jurassic Park short film.
Yeah.
Super
Exactly.
excited about it. Hopefully they'll just like release it like on YouTube or something. Like
I'm sure
that.
afterwards they will, because it's just supposed to be almost be like a commercial after this, after they release
The
movie
one
on
thing
FX.
that they have me worried about though, since it's FX has its own app.
Yeah.
That can get kind of hairy.
Oh, so they were like, oh, you can only watch it on this app. No, there's people are smart though. I mean, like, if you can see it,
Yeah.
people can rip it.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, man, the content ID stuff, like, they get real. Like, one of our friends works in content ID over at YouTube and stuff. They don't always want to do stuff, but they have to because people own intellectual property and things. And it can get kind of abusive. But there's been a couple, I think, like Legion. I know it's on Netflix now,
Yeah.
but while it was running, we couldn't watch it because we don't have FX
Yeah.
and stuff. And it's like, it's so frustrating.
That's Hulu, right? Because Hulu is such a pain in
Is
the
it
ass
Hulu?
because of that. Because they're like,
Well, the
hey, you
Hulu
got
is
the
the
basic
reason-
Hulu stuff, but you can't watch this unless you
So-
have the next tier. Like, oh, I hate you so
think-
much.
That and they delete their thing.
Yeah, you only watch it
I
for
think
5
with
days.
Legion specifically,
That was on a different
you
app
have to have the FX app.
Yeah.
for the second season.
Yeah, and to have the FX app, you have to have like a traditional cable thing. Like, who the hell has that anymore?
I know.
Like everyone's like literally getting their grandma's password for that.
Yeah.
Remember
like-
when like house phones were a thing?
Yeah. I am that old. We used to have a rotary phone in one room.
Yeah.
It was like,
my
I remember
grandmother.
loving using it. Being like, watch this.
Every Christmas, I'd call my ex-girlfriend to tell her how much I hate her. No, just playing.
Oh, jeez.
But no, I would call her on Christmas.
Then after that, like call the kid that gave you the Piper blimp. You're like,
Yeah.
yo, it's so F you again.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, you suck. Merry Christmas. But no, I go downstairs, use the rotary phone to call my girlfriend. Well, at the time, I guess she's my ex-girlfriend now, but to, say happy Merry Christmas, and that I was calling her on a rotary phone, and then she'd be like, "Stop calling me on Christmas to tell me you're calling me from a rotary phone."
Yeah, also, I don't know you.
Yeah. Also, F
are
you,
you?
you suck. Merry Christmas.
So Josh has this thing popped up here that I saw earlier that they're gonna have to change Phase 4 timeline thing because of Jessica Jones. I remember this thing.
Yeah.
I didn't connect it before.
What is it?
They have to change the trajectory of like this character story, like the Falcon and
U.S. agent.
So the guy that like created him was technically in Jessica Jones, doing the genetic
The
testing
doctor.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so because of the whole Netflix deal, they can't use him in the or they can't use the same storyline. Or I don't. This is more evidence to me that they're just like Netflix things didn't happen. Like in the MCU at least.
I mean, if they're talking about it, maybe Netflix things did happen.
Yeah, I don't know.
So basically, they're going to try to stay away from that in this next one. And to be honest, like they could probably just ignore it and just say straight up, "Hey, this is Just another dude.
I'm having more and more faith of like whatever Marvel Studios, the actual Marvel Studios, like adapting. Because once I was talking about this, we won't get into whole like Professor X, Magneto, person of color thing, but like there was an example in there I put it was like they changed Mysterio just ever so slightly. Like they didn't change his race, but they changed his story. Just like they pivoted a little bit.
Yeah.
It was like super creative and like really worked in a contemporary setting and stuff, and worked in the overarching Infinity Saga kind of thing. And so like whatever Marvel Studios has in their writing team or whoever's doing all that stuff, like I trust now because for me so far it hasn't been a misstep. So whatever they choose to do, I'm like, you know what? Even if I don't see that, I'm going to see how it goes because so far it hasn't been too wrong for me.
To be honest, like the Mysterio stuff when I was younger, like I always hated Mysterio. I thought he was a lame villain. Like just to me, like even grounded in the idea of technology, they're like, oh, these cubes, like, and you throw these cubes out or whatever, and it would it would make this place look like it's different. And you're like, okay, how does that work? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. But I mean, it is comics at the same time.
Yeah, I was gonna say because this is the same argument I bring up with like changes in movies and stuff. It's like we're talking about a world where like people control things with magnets in their minds and stuff. Like if he throws a cube out, I'm just gonna believe it. Even this movie in Spider-Man with the drones. Spoiler if you haven't seen it. With the drones, it's like, you know what? There's all kinds of flaws with that, but sure.
I like the idea
works.
of the drones, and I like the idea of, having them cast on stuff. I mean, the idea of making things black in daylight kind of also makes me a little weary, but...
Well, I guess that's why I was like, this is such an advanced technology that someone else created. Like, because
Tony Stark.
Yeah, well, not
they only
Tony,
really
was-
changed like
No, it
him
was
though,
one of
because
the
they
other
made
guys.
him he made him a scientist or something of that technology, as
Yeah, he was like
opposed
an
to him being
inventor.
a stunt. Yeah,
But I guess like the thing was he became an actor in the context of Mysterio.
yeah.
And so that was like...
But he wasn't an actor in the comics.
He was a VFX artist.
Yeah, he's just a VFX
But I mean,
guy.
like he became like in the acting world once Mysterio became a thing and stuff. And so I guess that was like the like slight tie-in. Instead of just having like a random actor
Right.
or like VFX or somebody Hollywood like jump in and stuff.
Yeah. They took a really, really goofy character and they made him cool. I mean,
He called my life's work barf.
Well, and then bring back everybody, like even like fucking like Ralphie from Christmas Story was in it. Like I love that.
apparently U.S. Soldier is supposed to be in the Winter Soldier or
The Falcon and Winter Soldier thing, yeah.
And I love U.S. Soldier, and he's kind of stood in for Captain America, but he's a dork. Like he's kind of like a jerk.
I wasn't familiar
and he
with
pushes
him,
it a little
so-
bit too far.
Thought
And so Cap has to kind of come back.
So he's like a super soldier,
Yeah,
like Captain
he
America.
has something similar, like the doctor does to him. I can't remember at the time if it was a super soldier serum or whatever it was.
They name him U.S. agent in this, right? Because that's what
isn't
he is.
that what I said?
You said U.S. soldier.
Oh,
It's
sorry.
probably Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Because I remember maybe 92 I had, or no, it might even have been an 80s Marvel card of U.S. agent.
Yeah.
I heard about an interview with who plays Falcon?
The guy's name, the
Yeah.
actor.
Clarence? No.
Hey, wait, the guy who plays Falcon, I guess in an interview had said that he's not going to go by Captain America. It shows
Yeah.
he's always going to be the Falcon, but he's just going to have like Captain America accessories.
Yeah. I kind of like that better anyway. I mean,
Actually, my next
why
comment-
does he need to change himself to be something
well,
better?
Anthony
my next
Mackie.
comment was like, this is probably like a very good like political move because just the amount of backlash. We're like, he's Captain America. That's not what it was in the comics. We're like, but
But it was.
sure, whatever.
The guy's name is Anthony Mackie.
Yeah,
Yes,
Anthony
Anthony
Mackie.
Mackie.
Sorry. I called him Clarence because he was in that Eminem movie, remember? 8 Mile or whatever.
I'm still, this is a tangent, but I'm still wanting to like make like a trolley like meme throw out there to like bait stupid people, where it has like Samus from Super Metroid.
Oh,
Be like,
gosh.
can you believe they gender swapped this to a woman? Like hit like if you hate this. And stuff. I totally want to do it and just be like, here's my list of people and not bother with it. I saw the funniest meme the other day. Someone had like taken Captain America's outfit and like flattened it out. They're like, technically he's Captain
Captain Puerto Rico
Well,
or
Puerto
whatever,
Rico. Yeah. And I was like, that's so funny. I know that's completely unintentional, but it was like, it's like a funny, like, that's interesting. I think we talked about this last time, but like there was like that thought that some of the shows were gonna be on Disney Plus at launch.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like you were saying, like how's that possible? They haven't started filming yet. Maybe it's not because now that like I saw like 3 shows that said it was going to be rumored to be at launch.
Yeah.
But once again, we haven't seen anything from them. But like it does seem like all of like the Marvel movies and stuff are going to be there at launch. So that's probably going to be more of the draw.
I've seen a lot of screenshots of people that I don't know if they're in other countries and they have it already, or if somebody has like a beta version of it. I actually have this article up right now. It's a classic Marvel animated shows.
I heard about that.
Have hit Disney Plus. So like I saw a screenshot of like a ton of stuff that like was on there. And like if they have that much stuff on there of like all those great classic shows, like on it, I'm gonna be like,
I'm
bought
there
right now. Just I'm here. Even
Take my money.
So you know what's funny? A lot of the stuff was on Hulu before they took it down.
yeah, well, it would pop,
I saw.
and it would pop in and out of Netflix too.
I didn't see either of those shows though. We're looking at Fantastic Four, or Hawk.
Yeah, Hulk is from the 90s. They also had the Iron Man in the 90s. They had like 2 different Fantastic Fours. I think they've actually have probably 5 different cartoons for the Fantastic Four so far.
Although this one screenshot down below this one with the guy head on here, that looks like when Hulu had it.
Or Netflix, yeah.
Was that Netflix?
That looks like a Netflix screen.
It looks like whenever the other streaming service I had on, that looks like the exact same screen.
Yeah. It'll be awesome with Darkwing Ducks on it, though. I'll definitely watch the heck out of that.
Darkwing Duck.
Oh, actually, so that's another funny thing. So we haven't talked to our friends yet, the Silvershires, but they're bringing back the Disney Afternoon.
Yeah.
Which I wonder if that brings back royalties for. So we did an interview with our friends Michael and Patty Silvershire, who did the theme song for Gummy Bears and Tailspin.
Yeah.
And they were like, everybody petitioned Disney to bring those shows back. And I was like, yeah, totally. And I wonder if it's because they're going to be getting royalties back, but also they were like such great shows.
Yeah.
And, like the theme songs were classic.
I loved Gummy Bears, even though like a lot of people don't even remember it.
Yeah, people remember the
kind of a weird
song
show.
before
Yeah.
the show.
Gummy Bears.
If you watch the videos we did with the Silvershires in our RKVC's YouTube channel, they talk about how they had to write that song without anything being animated. I don't think they had artwork yet either. The description, they were like, okay, they got the story by the Universe Bible. They're like, here's the gummy bears. They're a bunch of bears that live in the woods. They drink this berry juice to become bouncy. And it was like, Michael, like, were you also on drugs at this
Exactly.
time? Because if that made sense to you and you went and wrote a song, like, I don't know how you do that.
Right.
So one of the things we asked him was like, well, Vince and I have done some like pitch and spec stuff, and we're given very little information, and we have to make an entire world around it. And then when the producers are like, "Oh, that really isn't it," it's like, I don't know what is it. Like, what's going on in your head?
Unless you show me it so far.
So they said that the key for them was one of the producers or executives or whatever was like, "Oh, the song, it should be more like Robin Hood," and he was like, "Okay," and he came back with the song you know now.
Okay.
It was like
he said triumphant, like the Robin. Yeah, they had to hunt him down for months to find the right person to finally ask, because they went through like draft after draft after draft where it kept getting denied.
So he actually went to the actual executive board.
Oh, okay.
To ask them one-on-one.
And when they're like,
Which today probably be pretty easy to find, but back then you're like, who do I talk to? I don't know. Go upstairs to the 10th floor.
Yeah.
And like,
Well, they probably just didn't have access either.
Exactly.
The Disney Afternoon is actually what I'm kind of excited about. The superhero stuff's definitely cool, but I've rewatched the entire animated series again. 'Cause I have the DVDs like in a storage space in Delaware. But like the Disney Afternoon stuff, I don't think I've watched. Besides DuckTales, I don't
Since it
think I've
came
watched
out.
since I was a kid.
yeah.
I would watch DuckTales again.
I tried to convince my wife to let us buy it because it came out on like DVDs at Costco a couple times.
Yeah.
That and like gargoyles and all that good stuff.
Nice.
And I was all like, oh, we should buy this. And my wife's like, no.
See,
All right.
I just wish that they would come out with like the early '90s stuff, like Space Cats.
Space Cats.
Nobody
I don't know,
remembers
Space
Space
Cats.
Cats.
I remember a
Look it
show about Space Cats. Was it actually called Space Cats?
It's called Space Cats.
I remember the action
Space
figures. I remember the
Cats.
cartoon show.
Is that it?
Yep.
Oh, that's
weird.
completely different than I thought.
Yeah.
Or
I
were
don't
you
know.
thinking of biker mice from Mars?
No, I was
or
thinking
whatever?
about it was like Cats or something.
So I had a VHS of the first season of Space Cats. I love this little show. Yeah, there's some like stuff that I can remember from my past, like cartoons that people don't ever remember, or like that Space Cats. Like,
Yeah.
that I wish I can get on like streaming now.
The golden goose for me is Ronin Warriors, the American Ronin Warriors, because it was like samurai something. When it was actually like in Japan or whatever.
Samurai Warriors.
I've never actually even ever seen the Japanese one.
Yeah.
So that's what's funny, because usually for anime, I saw the Japanese and Korean ones because when I was a kid, my parents would go to Korea and I would see cartoons there, and they were just afternoon cartoons. And then when I was in the States, I'd never watched anime. But this one show, Ronin Warriors, when it translated to the States, they completely overdubbed it. It's probably a completely different story.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
They called it Ronin Warriors, and I love that show, and I love the toys from that show. And then they just like disappeared from history because I think like the rights ran out or whatever, and No one archived it.
Yeah, I tried to find it for you for Christmas
Oh,
or
yeah, I
something
remember
year before, and I just couldn't. I mean, like, I think
Yeah.
I found at one point in time they pressed them to DVDs and they're like missing. Like,
Yeah.
only like had only be less than 1,000 or something that they made, and that was it.
Yeah, because I've looked too, and I can't find like, and even when I think I find them, I find out they're just like the Samurai Warriors.
Yeah, you could
things.
probably. I think you can get the Samurai Warriors ones, but the Ronin Warriors one, which would be in English,
Yeah.
was. Yeah, it was just weird. I think they made like one giant like whole series of it once. Oh my gosh, guys, we've stayed too long.
Thanks for hanging out. We'll be back next week with whatever random stuff comes up.
Yeah.
If you're not familiar with us already, me and Vince are in a band called RKVC. We have our music on Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff. And then Josh has YouTube channel, Band's Life, and also something starting up soon.
Yeah, I'll let you know later when it's actually running.
We're just keeping him accountable every week.
Yeah, it's true.
Just keep everybody in comments keep hounding him about it.
So yeah, thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next week on Yellow Spandex.
Bye, everybody.